It is about progress and not perfection. We know what that end goal is. You've clearly identified that you want a home that you delight in, that you're proud of, that you really want to bring your friends over to, all the things. We understand that's your goal. But I want you to remember that even in the decisions you're making, the practice you're taking, the small steps you're making, it's more about the progress. Because as you start exercising those decorating muscles, your confidence is going to grow and soar, because you're going to soon have more successes than failures. Do you want a home that looks a bit more like you and a lot less like it did when you moved in 10 years ago? Are you tired of seeing picture-perfect homes flood your Instagram feed? Why do they seem to have their decorating act together when it takes you hours to choose a single pillow? Hey, I'm Dani, a self-taught home decorator who got tired of gathering home inspiration just to have it collect dust on the shelf. I've been transforming my home one space at a time, and it all started on a Goodwill budget while babies were sleeping. Here's the thing, friend. You don't need to have a design degree to create a home you're proud of, one that tells your story with your style, and you definitely don't need to have bags of money just waiting to be spent. You just need a little help and encouragement along the way. So let's be design besties, shall we? Every Tuesday, I'll be sharing listeners' questions in my Dear Dani series, so you can make progress on your home, creating a house that you're proud to come home to. So go ahead and send me your question, then pull up a chair so we can chat friend to friend. And when you're ready to hang out real time, join the Collective, my membership with weekly lessons, live Q&A sessions, complimentary room edits, and hand-holding so you don't get lost along the way. All right, friend, let's dive into today's question. I wonder how many of you might be able to relate to Tracy. She wrote, "Dear Dani, my decorating confidence is shot. I don't feel like what I want is so hard to accomplish, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to make good choices. Feeling like a failure sounds dramatic, but if truth be told, I kind of suck at decorating. I don't want to give up hope of having a home I'm proud of and enjoy being in. Sounds more like a pipe dream at the moment. Do you have any advice for building my decorating confidence so I can move my home out of a place that feels stuck? Tracy." Tracy, first of all, I am sending you a ginormous hug. I know what it feels like to be in that place of feeling a little bit frustrated, a lot overwhelmed, really, really confused, and not knowing how to get out of that place. It's like a hamster wheel that kind of just keeps going. And I just want to let you know that you are not alone. I have heard from so many women over the course of years about this same thing. It just feels frustrating, overwhelming, confusing, and somehow you kind of feel like the decorating gene just kind of skipped you by and landed nicely on all the other people, right? The people who seem to have their homes put together. But I want you to know that decorating is a skill, just like riding a bike is a skill. Baking sourdough bread is a skill. Learning how to tie your shoes is a skill. And all that equates to, Tracy, is that there is hope for learning. So you are not a lost cause. I want you to not even think about that for one more minute. And I want you to just understand and give yourself a little bit of grace. If you think about one of the hardest things you have ever learned how to do, go back to that. And I want you to think about what it was, where you started before you learned that thing, and where you are now. Because I have a feeling that if you think about that hard thing that you learned, and I don't even know what it is for you, for me, it might have been learning how to shoot a free throw. Not the hardest thing I've had to do, but a hard thing. Or learning how to referee a basketball game. Okay, that is not fun. No one likes the ref. Or learning how to be a parent, or whatever it is, right? What are the hard things that you have had to do? And what did life look like before you had to learn that thing? And now you might be proficient at it. That is the same thing with decorating. So yes, go ahead and feel all the feels for how you're feeling today. But you wrote in, which tells me that you don't want to stay there. So yay for you. Let's celebrate that. We are getting out of that place of feeling stuck. Now, here's what I also want you to think about, Tracy. Now, I don't know if you are a runner or not, but stick with me for just 1 second. Because I know that if my big goal was to run a marathon, I wouldn't go out and run 26.2 miles the first day of my training. I would not do that. I would be setting myself up for so much failure. a lot of injury, and probably a trip to the hospital, right? It is just not realistic. It's a goal that is achievable, but I have to really take it slow, and I have to take one tiny baby step at a time in order to build that momentum so that I can gain a little bit of muscle and that muscle memory and the practice and the endurance and all of the things that are going to get me from a place of walking around the block to then running and completing 26.2 miles. So I want you to keep that in mind too. Your end goal is not the marathon. Maybe it is. Good for you if it is. But it is a home that you are proud of. It's a home that you delight in. It's a home that you like looking around the room and thinking, oh my gosh, not only is this mine, I can't even believe it, but wow, I did that. That is the goal, right? In order to get there, Tracy, we need to have a little grace in knowing that we're not going to push you over the edge here. We're not going to push you over the cliff. We're not going to tie on your shoes and say, run 26.2 miles and don't stop until you're there. We're going to say, take it one small step at a time. And you just took the first step. You just did. Okay, here's what you're going to do next. I want you to think about these 5 things. The first thing is to remember that all steps are going to be small. So you're going to take a small step. When you are thinking about making a change, what is one small change you could make that is a tiny step forward? It's not necessarily going to cost you a lot or anything at all. And it's going to be an experimentation to see if you like it. I can think of several. I can think of shopping your home and just experimenting a little bit with trying to figure out if you like the lamp that's in your bedroom in your dining room. I can think about repurposing or reusing furniture that maybe you have in your storage unit. Maybe you have at your mom's house and it needs to come to yours. Maybe it is in the garage and it needs to be brought in. Maybe it's just in the guest room and you want to bring it out. These little small experimentations are just that. They are small steps that don't cost you anything, but they're helping you to exercise that decorating muscle, to experiment and play, to see if you like the change that you just made. These are low risk changes. One of the ones I did years ago when, we were strapped for cash. I'm not sad about that time in our lives. Mr. Friggin' Farm was working a great job, but he hadn't had a raise in several years. And we were expanding our family. I was staying at home. I, by the way, never didn't work. I did stay home. I was just really creative. What did I do? I was a children's pastor earning $10. You guys, $10 an hour. Okay. Oh, love that job. I also was a tutor, and I tutored during the nap time of my babies. So that was fun, and I was able to apply the skill I'd learned doing something I loved, helping another kiddo. Love that. I also had garage sales. I got rid of stuff in order to be resourceful. My point is this. We were strapped for cash. We couldn't buy a whole lot of anything, and I got a little bit bored. I got the decorating itch. I wanted something to change. And in our home in Iowa, we had a sunroom, as a lot of homes in the Midwest do. And our sunroom was off the back porch. It had windows all around, a really lovely door. It was open to 3 areas: the kitchen, the downstairs, and the dining room. And our dining room, I wanted to be a little closer to outside. So we moved the dining room one day into the sunroom. We moved the sunroom furniture into the dining room. Was it a permanent change? No, but it was a low risk change, and it allowed me to see how I liked that before I made any more adjustments at all. Before I got rid of the chairs that were a little bit worn and used. Before I replaced the chairs in my dining room table that I thought, these are a little bit janky now. Before I did any of that, I wanted to experiment with a low risk change to see how I liked it. And that's what I want you to do, Tracy. Shop the house, move things around, even start getting rid of some things that no longer serve you, no longer resonate with you, no longer things that you enjoy. And as we get closer to that blank slate, some of these other things are going to start taking hold. Hey friend, I see you over there on Pinterest, pinning all the pretty pictures, saving the inspiration for when the time is just right. I hear you, chatting with your friends about the changes that you would make in your home if only you could. You may wonder, and you might even Google, how much is a designer? Or what's the first thing I should do when I want to redecorate my home? But then you stop, resigning yourself to live in a home that's not quite you. You might think, it's fine. I don't hate my sofa that much, but your Pinterest board full of inspiration will tell you otherwise. Recognizing beautiful pictures isn't the problem, nor is it wanting a home that you delight in. The problem? Not having the funds to hire the fancy pants designer, and not knowing how to sort through the sea of online noise telling you what you should do first to make the changes in your home that you want to. You have the inspiration, and heck, you even are ready to take action. You just don't know where to start. That's why I'm hosting and inviting you to my free Love Your Home Challenge. It's happening February 10th to 14th, Monday through Friday. And the best part, it's happening inside of your inbox. There's no live workshop you need to attend to, no replay that you're going to need to watch. Each day, over the course of 5 days, you'll have short video lessons delivered to your inbox with an action item for you to do that day, teaching you the 5 most important things you should do when learning how to decorate your home. And after a week of learning, you might have questions. That's why on Friday the 14th, I'm hosting a live Q&A session where you can ask any of the questions that you had about learning the material through the course of the week, or skip to the good part and ask me a burning question you have about your home. Friend, I can't wait to not only see you inside of this challenge, inside of your inbox daily, but I can't wait for you to finally take action. Because having a home that you delight in isn't frivolous. It's not and doesn't need to be too expensive, and it is absolutely attainable. We know you have the inspiration. Now it's time to take action. You can register for the challenge by going to bit.ly/LYH for Love Your Home Challenge. That's bit.ly/LYH Challenge. The link will be in the show notes. I'll see you soon. Okay, number 2 really applies to that starting small with low risk change. I want you to just practice. Practice with the test run. Very similar to the way I tested out how I liked the dining room table in the sunroom. I had a client that I was just talking to recently who was really thinking she needed a new dining room table. It's a dark table, and she has light honey oak wood in her home, very gorgeous. But the dark table, of course, contrasts that, and it has dark chairs. And one of the suggestions I'd made to her during one of our decorating SOS calls was to leave the table, but maybe swap out the chairs so that it wouldn't be so heavy in that area. Maybe we had some upholstered lighter color chairs. And as a way for her to experiment before she pressed go, before she purchased, she took 2 faux fur rugs, white rugs, that she had on other chairs in her home, and she draped them over the back of the chair just to give her the idea, the illusion of the white upholstered chair. This is brilliant. She showed it to me on one of our calls, and I said, okay, this is wonderful. You like it. This is great. Now I want you to experiment just a little bit more, and I want you to go and grab a pillowcase, go grab a blanket, go grab something else that is white that you can continue that illusion and put them on all 6 of the chairs, not just 2 of the chairs, to see how you like it. And let it be for a day or 2. Just let it be, let it sink in, let it percolate just a little bit, this idea that you want to have change. And then if you like it, now it's time to act on it. That can help build your decorating confidence, doing something like that. Removing furniture, adding furniture from other areas like I was just sharing. Those are all ways you can experiment. You can practice with a test run. The third thing I want you to think about is creating a visual mood board. This doesn't have to be digital. It can be a piece of paper with pictures cut out of a magazine. It can be on a Word document, and you take screenshots of the items and you just put it together in place. And if you can see it together, these ideas, these choices that you're kind of thinking about making, you kind of test it out. It's kind of like this practice run. You test it out to see if you like it before you purchase it. And if you don't like it, it's not a big deal. It just took how many minutes to get that screenshot onto that Word document. It doesn't take a very long time, but it gives you the idea before you go out to the store, you buy it, you bring it home. That's a lot of energy expenditure to do that one thing, and then to realize with great disappointment that, it doesn't look good. You could have saved yourself a whole lot of hassle beforehand, Tracy, by just putting the pictures together and seeing if you like the idea in the first place. The fourth thing is I want you to remember that just like in the illustration of running the marathon, it is about progress and not perfection. We know what that end goal is. You've clearly identified that you want a home that you delight in, that you're proud of, that you really want to bring your friends over to, all the things. We understand that's your goal. But I want you to remember that even in the decisions you're making, the practice you're taking, the small steps you're making, it's more about the progress. Because as you start exercising those decorating muscles, your confidence is going to grow and soar, because you're going to soon have more decorating decisions done well, and I am air quoting this, well, then air quoting failure, using one of your words, right? Your decorating decisions are directly tied to this idea of practice and exercising those decorating muscles. Just like that thing that you learned at the very beginning of our conversation, that thing that you learned that was hard, you had no idea, and now you're an expert at, just like that. It reminds me too of what's happening currently in my own life. I see it daily as I am sitting in the passenger seat while my middle son is driving me around places. And he gets really hard on himself when he makes a mistake. But here's the thing. I expect him to make a mistake. He wasn't born driving. He wasn't born doing any of those things that we have been now doing for 20, 30, 40, 50, however many years. He is just learning. And so there will be times when we go too slow. There will be times when we take curves too fast, when we might hit the curb, when we might park and not get into the line. That is all exercising those muscles. And as he continues to do that, he's going to grow in confidence and grow in ability, and he's going to end up being a proficient driver. The same thing is with you, Tracy. But if you don't get into the driver's seat, you're not going to be growing at all. So just remember, it's progress over perfection. And of course, the last thing is, as you see some of these rules laid out before you, maybe you're browsing YouTube or Instagram or Pinterest or what have you, and you see rules like 2/3 ratio or rules of 3 or only decorate in odd numbers or curtains have to touch the floor or whatever the and I am air quoting again, whatever the rules are. I want you to remember that these rules are in place but should be used as guidelines, and go ahead and refer to them if they are helpful to you. If you're picking out curtains and you're not quite sure, take the extra 5 minutes to try to find how long curtains should be on a window that is whatever size you're putting curtains on. Before just going and making the decision without that information, go and try to find that. See if that guideline can help you make a confident decision instead of going into it rushed or without a little bit of forethought. Of course, we can always help you with this inside of the collective. That is what we are here for. It is my absolute joy to be able to teach weekly these decorating concepts that are not only fun for me to teach, but also really enlightening for you to learn. Little things that you can do here and there in order to move your decorating needle forward, in order for you to practice and exercise those decorating muscles so that you can grow in confidence and get out of that place of feeling stuck. That is what that's there for. And with monthly Q&As, it's a chance for you to get real-time answers for problems you are having in real life, with your real furniture, with the real paint colors, with your real home, not these imaginary ones that could be a problem for someone somewhere. All right, Tracy, again, sending you a ginormous hug. And if you couldn't tell, I had my little cheerleading pom-poms on for you because I know that decorating is a learned skill. And if I can learn it, friend, I know that you can too. Reach out if you have any questions, and of course, come and join us inside of the collective where we are constantly learning, constantly growing, and always being inspired. All right, until next time, I'll see you soon. Friend, thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you taking part of your busy day to tune in and listen. If you enjoyed the show, chances are someone else will too. And you know what? The best way for them to find it is by leaving a review. Doing that changes that pesky little algorithm that Apple Podcast has that allows my show to be seen by others. And if you can take 30 seconds to leave a review, it would make me beam ear to ear. I appreciate it. Until next time, I'll see you soon.